Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I'm Alex Bourke, and I've been involved in London Vegans for over 20 years. And when I first moved back to London, I met a guy called Paul Gaynor at London Vegans, where I met a lot of my friends. And he was producing a photocopied list of vegetarian vegan places in London. And I'd worked in a guidebook company. So we got together and we made the first vegetarian London book, because back in the 90s, there were only 2 vegan places. So we called it Vegetarian, even though it was a vegan book. And we got them in the bookshops, and we're now on the 7th edition, which is now renamed Vegan London. And while all the restaurants have been closed during lockdown, I brought out another little book called The Vegan Guide with my friend Ronnie, and our friend who's a vegan chef, and our friend Scarlett in Croydon, who is a vegan nutritionist, and Mike Cooper, the vegan GP, and Chrissy Leyland from London Vegan Campaigns, who's a chef and a mother, and she's also a counsellor, so she's good at explaining being a vegan parent when you've got to deal with schools, for example. So the Vegan Guide is our new book, all about how to be vegan. All the other books are about eating out as a vegan. So originally the book was called Vegetarian London, but the 7th edition we decided to go for it and rename it to Vegan London. The bookshop said, yeah, we'll stop this now. It's actually a better title. Vegetarian's a bit outdated. Vegan is what everyone's asking for now, whereas 10 years ago, bookshops wouldn't have touched a Vegan London book. But now the world has really, really changed. So while we were compiling the 7th Vegan London book, we found it used to be we get 1 new vegetarian opening a month a few years ago, and now we're getting 3 new vegan openings a week. So it was a huge job to compile a new book, because people kept opening new vegan places as fast as we could write them up. And then lockdown happened a year ago, and people stopped opening vegan places. So as you'll see tonight, there have been some new openings in the last year. So while I was compiling it with my friends, we brought out some individual guidebooks for different areas of London, all of them well over 100 pages. So, take a few months to do one, and we get that out, and then we do another one. And then we finally got them finished, January last year. We rolled them all together into the big book. And it's the first time that the books have been in full colour. So you have colour-coded maps now with the vegan places in pink, the vegetarian places in green, and omnivorous places with tons of vegan food like Wagamama are in blue, and shops are in orange. Originally we just had green for veggie and vegan, but suddenly there were so many vegan places that half the vegetarian places in London now are vegan. And in some areas like Shoreditch, they're virtually all vegan. It's only in Indian areas now that you find a majority of vegetarian restaurants. Over 90% of new vegetarian openings in London now outside Indian areas are vegan. So vegetarian is basically dead. Vegan is the way things are the last 3 or 4 years. Incredible transformation. And inside the book, you'll see, for example, this is the vegan pub with all vegan food in Dalston. Brewdog with Biff's Jack Shack in turn doing food. We write them up, we show you pictures of the place and the food to help you choose. The new Vegan London book that came out a year ago is actually 800 pages. And most of the places in it are still there. We've had a few closures and we've had a few new openings. So the first big news is that the 4 Mildreds restaurants in London are now 100% vegan. They've been talking about it for years, and sometimes they'd have like they weren't vegan for Veganuary, for example. They're getting more and more vegan, and now they're all completely vegan. In Soho, this is the Soho branch, King's Cross, Dalston, and Camden. So all in areas that people like to go out, or where people change tubes to go to work. And then this is the stunning new opening this year. Gauthier, Alexis Gauthier, is a French Michelin-starred restaurant, and there is nothing less vegan than a French restaurant. Just look at Gordon Ramsay's food. He's classically French trained. And this guy, he got veganism. He started doing a vegan tasting menu, and now he's taken the dramatic step of making his entire restaurant vegan. He knows he might lose a few customers, but he reckons he'll get plenty of new ones. So this is the posh restaurant in Soho. You're going to spend at least 40 quid for a meal. So it's not actually reopening date. It's reopening on the 21st of June for diners, Boris permitting. But he's also opened up a cheaper but not cheap restaurant in Fenwick Bond Street called 123 Vegan. It's actually opening for diners inside on 17th of May, when hopefully all the restaurants will open up if Boris says yes. And okay, it's just off the south side of Oxford Street, so it's Mayfair, so it's not the cheapest place, but for Mayfair it's very good value. So if you're shopping at whatever department stores are left on Oxford Street, this is a good place to get some food, all vegan. And Mayfair's always been rubbish for vegetarian places, but now they're popping up. This is another one just on the Mayfair side of Oxford Circus. Meat Burger is a new chain of vegan burger places, and Lewis Hamilton, the Formula One champion, has put money into this. They've also opened one in Camden, and they're aiming to open lots more. And again, it's Mayfair, so you're not going to get a burger for a £5, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper than any other place in Mayfair. And also it's handy because Tibbetts, unfortunately, has closed. They couldn't be open for no revenue any longer. And then this is another big opening in Victoria, which is not the best place. Around Victoria Station, there's pretty much nothing vegan. You have to go to Chelsea. The Vegan Brasserie, it's another of those restaurants that on their Facebook or Instagram, there's no picture of the actual restaurant, just lots of pictures of their food. And restaurants have only been open since 12th of April, and most of them just for takeaway or sitting outside if they've got a table outside. So I haven't been able to get around all of them yet. I did go to one today, which you'll see later. But it looks really nice, healthy food and pizzas. And Victoria's been crying out for a vegan restaurant for 30 years, and finally they've got one. And then Wolf and Lamb is a very popular vegan restaurant down towards the river in Chelsea. And they've opened a second branch in Marylebone. All kinds of vegan food, healthy food, fast food, lots of cakes. And Stem and Glory in Farringdon, that was actually just opening as I published the last book, but because people don't know about it, and it's in the City of London, which again is not the best place for vegan. You usually end up going to Wagamama, Blackballs, but this place is beautiful. They already had a lovely restaurant in Cambridge. And then got these in the wrong order. Okay, I've just been in Dalston, coming back by the dentist. Oh, I've got the slide back to front. And Essential Vegan, our Brazilian friends, Nenny and Vanessa, they had a beautiful vegan little restaurant in Shoreditch, but the landlord still wanted lots of rent out of them all the time of lockdown, and you can't pay for an empty restaurant. So they closed that one down and they reopened in Dalston. There's a gay nightclub downstairs called Dalston Superstore, and they've got the cafe bar upstairs, which they run as part of that nightclub, I guess, when it's open in the evenings. But this is open in the daytime just as a cafe. There's a table outside you can sit at now. So I was in there today. So yeah, it's an LGBTQ place, but everyone's welcome. I'm not gay, but I'm very happy to go there and eat their food, and I did eat their food today. This is what I had. Well, there's the menu for today, and it changes every week. So there's a chickpea stew, or you can have burger and chips with a cake and a fizzy drink. And they do other fast food options, kind of vegan pub food. So there's a luxurious burger with lots of things in, sweet potato fries, a brownie and a drink. That's about £12. Prices in London are not as cheap as they used to be, but that still compares very favourably to most other restaurants in London, vegan or non-vegan. And then on the other side of the road in Dalston, there's this new place called Oowee Burger. It's only takeaway at the moment. And lots of vegan places now surviving on takeaway and Deliveroo, Uber Eats, Just Eat. If you type vegan into any of the delivery companies, there's so much stuff comes up now. Some of it completely vegan places, other people doing big vegan menus. And we need to support our vegan restaurants to get them through the last few weeks of lockdown before they're allowed to open up and have people inside, because they're really struggling. Furlough now isn't 100% or 80%, down to 70%, and you've got to pay your own national insurance on half the business that you normally have. So Brewdog in Dalston. Dalston's a real vegan hotspot now. It's sort of the north end of Hackney, between Shoreditch and Stoke Newington. There's lots of buses go there, and there's an overground station, so very easy to get to. There's Mildreds, there's an Ethiopian vegan place, and then Brewdog Dalston is the first Brewdog pub in Britain to go 100% vegan, and they've got Biff's Jack Shack, who do a lot of the vegan markets, doing the catering, so hot dogs, burgers, fries, all kinds of fun fast food, typical vegan pub food aimed at young people. And all the beers in that branch are vegan. Most Brewdog beers are vegan, but here they're all vegan, and that's the kind of filthy fun vegan fast food you get there. And Halo Burger, they've got a branch in right at the back of Brixton Market, and they've opened another one in Shoreditch, where there are several vegan places that are listed in the book. Shoreditch is the new party area. Lots of people used to hang out in Soho area and go to veggie and vegan places there, and there are still some great places like Banter Vegan Restaurant, but there's a big concentration of bars with vegan caterers in them in Shoreditch. And when things unlock, the night tube now runs through there on Friday and Saturday night, all night. The whole area was just flooded with Ubers and taxis, so the mayor decided to open it overnight. And in Croydon, in the Boxpark in Shoreditch, there's vegan food available. We have noticed some people with places in markets and Boxparks, they tend to come and go and move around and close and open again. I guess some people have said they've been there for a while, and then the landlord tried to bump the rent up, so they said no, we're not having that, and they've moved somewhere else. But overall, there's a good flow, and the trend is upwards in terms of numbers. Also in the Shoreditch area, Hoxton on the north side, there's this new vegan takeaway that actually opened during lockdown called Hungry Beast, one of the best names ever for a vegan cafe. The guy that owned it, he had a mini cab company with 100 drivers, and once lockdown hit, nobody was taking mini cabs, there's nowhere to go, and nowhere to go home from afterwards. So he converted the mini cab office into a kitchen, got some chefs in, and launched a vegan takeaway in lockdown, and did a really, really good job. And he's been so busy ever since, huge portions, and it's the only vegan Indian takeaway in London. There's Healthy Wealthy Vegan Restaurant on the north side of Camden, near the vegan shop and Bumblebee Whole Foods, third estate vegan shop for clothes and shoes. So you could go there if you want to sit down Indian meal, but for takeaway around East London, this place is unbeatable. And then Unity Diner, which is in the book in Hoxton, they've moved just down the road to Spitalfields. That's Earthling Ed, the top vegan activist. There's a lovely sit-down proper vegan restaurant right next to Spitalfields Market. So you could go there for dinner after a day out in East London, going around Brick Lane or Spitalfields Market. Now, this is the big new opening in North London. You probably know of Rudy's Vegan 30, well, it's called Rudy's Dirty Vegan Diner in Camden Market, which was all filthy vegan fast food, as they describe themselves, burgers and Reuben sandwiches, and it's American style 50s diner fast food. I cycled past this 5 weeks ago when I was going to get vaccinated, and they were just renovating right on the end, just out of the shop. They've got the Rudy's Vegan Butcher, which was in the news a few months ago when they opened. They were sold out on the first day by 4 o'clock. And they've got the restaurant next door. They were renovating it. I popped inside for a look, and they were turning it into a big American-style vegan diner. Should be open soon. They said to me they'd be open for takeaway, so I should be doing takeaway now. And this is just up from Angel Islington Tube Station towards Highbury and Islington. You can walk up there. It's more towards Highbury and Islington, actually. So this is something that we really needed along there. We had Neil's the Old Salad Bar, which unfortunately the Islington branch is closed. It's just the Covent Garden one now. We've got a big, new, fabulous vegan restaurant that London vegans should go to as soon as it's safe. And Purezza in Camden on Parkway, the vegan pizza place. It was always a bit pokey and like long, thin restaurant, but they've now got new premises seating 120, so it's a huge vegan pizza restaurant. So if you want to meet all your mates in one night when it's safe, this is the place to go. And I've got a video from their YouTube of the new restaurant. It's absolutely beautiful. So just to remind us what we've been missing. So long since I've been to a restaurant, I've forgotten how much fun it is. Now, on Parkway, their new neighbours are Temple of Seitan, the Camden branch, which was more in King's Cross by the canal and a bit hard to find, has now moved to Parkway. So it's the road between Camden Town Tube Station and Regent's Park, with Whole Foods Market on it as well. So if you can't get into Purezza, you can go next door for Temple of Seitan, who do the meatiest, juiciest vegan burgers and fast food, loaded fries and so on. We could get some food to take to Regent's Park. There's also a new branch of Temple of Seitan that will be opening soon. So we've got one in East London, we've got one in central North London, and there's one opening in another part of London, which I'll come to shortly. Okay, now this place has just opened on the south side of Tower Bridge, and again, Bermondsey was a pretty rubbish area for vegans. You could get a falafel in the market, but that was about it. And now the field beneath has opened a vegan cafe there, which is brilliant. This place used to be called Gnarbecue on the south side of Tower Bridge, on Tower Bridge Road, which was a nice vegetarian Mediterranean style restaurant. And it's been taken over now by a guy that I met in Italy 20 years ago at a vegan activist event called Stefano, who at the time was a medical student, but he's now a vegan chef, and he's moved to London with his partner and their daughter and taken over Gnarbecue, turned it into Stefano Vegan, and made a beautiful vegan restaurant. And this isn't another fast food place, nothing wrong with fast food for young people, but this is healthy vegan food. And he's got lots of outside tables. So if you're looking for somewhere to go this weekend, this is the place on the south side of Tower Bridge. And I actually sat outside and had some food when it was Gnarbecue a few weeks ago. So this is Stefano, the man. So he's moved to England to run a vegan restaurant. He ran a top vegan restaurant in Italy for years before he came here. And that's the kind of beautiful, colourful, healthy food that you can get there. And you can get the fun food as well. It's got everything covered. So Stefano on Tower Bridge Road. All these places, by the way, I'm going to talk at the end about how you can get a list from me of everything I'm doing today. And you can just Google them. They've all got social media. Things have changed a lot, and you can check out when they're open. And I recommend, before going to any place at the moment, because lockdown's still going on and people are still gradually reopening, check their Instagram or Facebook to see what the latest is. And people who are open will be posting to say, yep, we're open these days at these times, because it's all up in the air at the moment. And there are some places that have closed, and often when people close, or they're closed until May or June, they don't necessarily post on their Facebook. People will say, look, I'm an immigrant, I'm not a native English speaker, I'm a chef, not a computer programmer. So some people are not good at keeping their social media up to date, but that doesn't mean they're not brilliant at making vegan food. Other places are very good at it. Okay, Croydon Boxpark is a bit of a vegan hotspot in South London. The places do tend to come and go a bit, and there are a few in the Boxpark. This one, Gnarbecue, is brand new, and they're doing vegan fast food. They've also got the food concession at the Amersham Arms pub in New Cross. You can get vegan food there as well. Also in Croydon Boxpark, Vegan Express is a super vegan restaurant in Tooting, and they've opened a little place in Croydon Boxpark, like Shoreditch Boxpark or Wembley. You've got lots of shared tables, and then you get your food from the various vendors. So if you're meeting a non-vegan friend, it's a good place to go. And because the tables are kind of outside with a roof over it, they're allowed to be open now. And then this is the Ruby's vegan cakes. You often see them in vegan markets, and they're always in Greenwich Market. And they've got their own pop-up vegan cake shop, which hopefully will become permanent in Greenwich. I'll put the address because otherwise you might not find it. I think that's Ruby herself. And they do sugar-free cakes as well, so they're like really good vegan cakes and other things. Okay, this is a completely new vegan cafe. It's actually a cafe that already existed, and they've gone vegan in East Dulwich, Blue Mountain. Haven't been there yet, but the food looks really nice. Yeah, there's an example of the kind of food. Looks good value for London as well. So they do a lunch menu, side salads, soups and stuff. And they also do a brunch menu. So I'm guessing that the weekend is a good time to go there. And looks like they've got some outside tables. If you're planning to go and get the outside tables, at the moment it's a good idea to reserve, because people who've been cooped up for months unable to go out, they're flooding places. Lots of restaurants are telling me, yeah, we're fully booked for the next 2 weeks. So you might be worth ringing them to find out when's a quiet time, when they squeeze you in, unless you just want takeaway until 17th of May when everything reopens. Okay, I'll give these guys a mention. Coughlans Bakery is a chain of bakery shops around Croydon. There's 26 of them. They seem to be going full on vegan. They used to have a couple of vegan things, and it's every month, sometimes more than once a month. They veganize one of their things until most of what they sell now is vegan. And that looks like a 30 centimetre, I'm guessing it's a sausage roll. They didn't actually say on their Facebook, but I just grabbed it today as something impressive. So if you like a great vegan sausage roll, this one is bigger. And they're all around the Croydon area of South London. Now, Beza, it's in the book, was a restaurant that had lots of vegan food. And now they've moved to a different location at Elephant and Castle, so just close to where they used to be. And they've made it 100% vegan. Now, Ethiopian food's lovely for vegans. It's this big pancakey bread called injera, and you get portions of lentil dishes, beans, salads, vegetables, and you just eat it with your hands, Indian style, but this is Ethiopian style. And they keep bringing in more injera bread, and it's really good value. It's a great place to go with a friend or a few friends and share the food. There's another one called Andu in Dalston, which is similarly fantastic value. And then this place I've just heard about, haven't been there yet. So in Tooting, there are a few veggie and vegan places. This one's brand new, so it's Caribbean. Caribbean vegan food tends to be really, really healthy and amazing value. So if you live in South London, definitely go and have a look at this. I certainly will be. And I don't even live in South London. Okay, this is the new temple at Seitan. There's nothing about it on their website or social media, but my friend Emily Bennett lives in the area, and she walked past it a few weeks ago and took a photo and sent it to me. So there will be West London's first filthy vegan fast food heaven for people who are missing burgers and hot dogs and loaded fries, and especially new vegans who liked eating fast food before. We haven't got an opening date for it, but this photo is from a few weeks ago, so I'm guessing it won't be long. And then Wembley and Indian areas in general, there's usually lots of vegetarian restaurants, but always nothing vegan. There's a Hinter vegan restaurant in Pinner, right on the end of Harrow, and this one in Preston Road, which is kind of on the east side of Wembley. This is a new vegan cafe and takeaway. It seems to be takeaway at the moment. I just grabbed this off their Facebook today. Female owned, so definitely want to support them. And again, it looks like they're doing kind of fast food, fun food, probably amazing value, because Indian places usually are fantastic value. I'm not sure they look Indian, but it's an Indian area. Okay, then in Ealing, there's a regular pizza place which had said in January that they'll be going vegan, and they're going to change the name to Virgin Maria. So if you're in Ealing, keep an eye on that. And in the meantime, Humble Veg Takeaway in Ealing. It's all vegan food, takeaway only, but fantastic value, nice food. Now there's Humble Veg in Ealing, and then there's Humble Pizza in Chelsea, not the same one. Again, their social media, they've got no pictures of the place, but it's all vegan, and it looks like a proper sit-down vegan restaurant. I'll have more to say when I've gone and had a look at it. Okay, that's the new vegan places that I've got much information about. Now, things are starting to open up again. Portobello Vegan Night Market is every 2 weeks. It used to be 5 till 10. At the moment, it's running 4 till 9. And there's actually one today at the top of Portobello Road. They're quite good at posting on social media if you want to look for them. And they post just before the event who's going to be there. And they're usually about 20 stalls. You can just walk in. Normally they'd have a DJ, but not during lockdown, because they don't want people hanging around and getting close to each other. It's a very social thing. The stall holders are very friendly, and I believe they're booked up for the next few months for stall holders. And again, it's much cheaper than going to a restaurant. Go with your friends, get some food, stand around eating it. They do normally have tables there, and you can always go around the area shopping beforehand. And then the big event this weekend is Hackney Vegan Village is back. They sometimes do events about once a month, so it's right in the middle of Hackney, by Hackney Central Overground Station, Narrowways. It's near what used to be Pogo Cafe, which is now called Black Cat Cafe, and Wave, We Are Vegan Everything Vegan Cafe. And there are stacks more vegan places on their street. So if you do come for this, you might want to go on Happy Cow to get a map up of Hackney and see where to go afterwards. If they've got tables outside, Wave's got lots of tables outside. Normally there are about 40 stalls, everything's vegan, tons of fast food, good place to meet your friends if you've been vaccinated and got a mask especially. There's also a zero waste food shop in that street, so you could bring lots of bags and a few jars or boxes with you and load up on whole foods without packaging. And I think first this weekend on Sunday, there's also St Albans Vegan Market if you fancy a trip out of town. So that's all the new places, not all the new places, but all the ones that I had ready for today. And I was going to suggest, if people are interested, I can make a list of all the new places with the details of where they are. And if anybody wants to buy a copy of the book, I was thinking of doing a special offer. So the Vegan London book, 800 pages in colour. It's normally $14.95. But if I sell direct, I can cut out the bookshop. So I was thinking of doing a special offer of $9.95 and free postage. And I'll put in a list of all the new places that have opened. and maybe throw in a copy of the vegan guide, the Go Vegan book as well, if people are interested, which case I'll amend my website right now while we're talking. I'll throw it open to you now, and if anyone's been to any of these places, maybe you can tell us about them and if there are any places we've missed, and if you've got any questions. So I'll turn the meeting back to Brian.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you very